सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्.
Thank you. So first, our gratitude should go to the gurus. Yeah. Who would want to chant Guru Brahma? Ayush, go ahead. Go ahead, Ayush. Okay, maybe his hand. Yeah. Ananya would want to chant.
Guru Parma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Om Shanti. Thank you. Now, the person who you see in the orange robe is Swami Paramarthananda ji. His disciple, Swami Timappa Hegde, is such and such's teacher, and we are direct disciples of such and such. And our gratitudes go to all of them. Thank you. First, we will be having a story by Purvik. Purvik, go ahead.
Good evening. My name is Purvik Sai. Today I am going to tell the story about Kamadhenu. The contents of this story is introduction of Kamadhenu and the story how it was stolen and who stole it. Introduction of Kamadhenu. Kamadhenu is the divine cow mentioned in Hinduism. It's also known as Surabhi. Regrets as a form of Devi, the Hindu divine mother, to the Mother Earth, Prithvi, who is often described as a cow in Sanskrit. Placing a statue of cow and calf at your home will inculcate health, wealth, peace, successful, and positivity in your life. Story of Kamadhenu, how it was stolen. Once when Vishwamitra, king of Kanya Kubuja, reached the hermitage of the great sage Vasistha with a large return. Kamadhenu is hermitage provided sumptuous food for the king and his following. Vishwamitra decided to possess Kamadhenu, but Vasistha Rishi would not part with her, since she was a gift from Devas given to him for meeting the needs of guests visiting his ashram. When Vishwamitra tried to take her by force, Kamadhenu assumed a terrific form, and soldiers jumped out of the different limbs of her body and routed the soldiers of King Vishwamitra. Kamadhenu was also stolen from sage Jamadagni's ashram by
Sahasrabahu.
Sahasrabu. Arjuna, a king named Thousand-Armed Arjuna. Sahasrabu killed the rishi and forcibly took the divine cow. Parashurama, the sixth incarnation of Vishnu, who was the son of sage Jamadagni, cut off the arms of Kartavya Arjuna and killed him. To avenge this incident, Parashurama wiped out generations of corrupt warriors from the planet to restore justice. Moral of the story is we should not be jealous for others' valuable things. Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Purvik, for an amazing story on how Kamadhenu was stolen. as he rightly said, we should never be jealous, and we should always be happy with what we have. There's a lot of significance of Kamadhenu in our Puranas. One being, as we have learned the 10th chapter, Vibhuti Yoga. In the 10th chapter, Krishna says, out of all cows, I am Kamadhenu. And we also know in the Dhyana shlokas, Sarvopanishado Gao. Moving on to the next story, we have Madhav, who will be telling us the story of Kaliya. Go ahead, Madhav.
Story of Kaliya. The Yamuna River used to be a home to a gigantic black five-headed snake named Kaliya. With his venom, he tainted the river's water, and the extremely powerful serpent terrified the residents of Vrindavan. It is said that Kaliya and his family took refuge in Yamuna after being attacked by Garuda. Krishna decided to discipline Kaliya one day. Explain. It was a peaceful day in the forest. The occasional breeze blew through the fresh green leaves of the majestic trees. Playing happily, a cuckoo bird chirped merely on the branches of a gigantic peep tree. Krishna dived into the toxic waters. A battle ensued between Krishna and Kaliya. Sri Krishna easily overpowered him. Next one. Krishna emerged from the river dancing atop the middle head of Kaliya. The dancing left the mark of Krishna's feet on the head of Kaliya. Kaliya's wife begged for mercy to Krishna. Sri Krishna spared the life of Kaliya and commanded them to leave Yamuna and seek refuge in the ocean. Kaliya assured that Garuda would not attack him on seeing the marks of Sri Krishna's feet on his head. Thank you.
Thank you, Madhav, for an amazing story. Let's move on to the class. So in the previous class, we saw that Krishna talks about the asuri sampat qualities from the 7th verse. But why is it necessary to know about the asuri sampat qualities? Can anyone tell? Raise your hand. Yes, Shara?
Yes. It is important to know the asuri sampat qualities so that we can avoid them. So if we have any, we can avoid them.
Rightly said. So we have to know the asuri sampat qualities in which we have, and we can gradually eliminate them and nurture the good qualities. So let's start with today's class with verse 16.11 by Narayani.
Is Vinayak there?
Narayani and Vinayak. Yeah.
I'm there.
Yes. Next slide. Continue, Vinayak.
Chintamaparimeyaam cha pralayana tamupashtati.
Should I help you, Vinayak?
Yes.
Okay. Chintamaparimeyaam cha
Chintamaparimeyaam cha
pralayantamupashitaha
pralayatamupaashitaha
kamopabhogaparamaha.
Kamobhagoparama.
We'll repeat. Can you repeat this again? Kamopabhogaparamaha.
Kamo bhoga
It is kamo pabho. Kamo pabhoga paramaha.
Kamo bhoga parama.
Eta vidita nishchataha.
Etavati nishchataha.
That's all.
Okay, you can continue.
You go ahead, Narayan. We'll chant after you.
Oh, okay. Chintamaparimeryam cha
चिन्तामपरिमेयां च
प्रलयान्तामुपाश्रिताः
प्रलयान्तामुपाश्रिताः
कामोपभोगपरमाः
Kamo
नामोपभोगपरमः
एताविदितनिश्चिताः
एतावदितनिश्चिताः.
Go ahead, Narayan.
Vinayak has to tell the meaning also, no? But
Okay, sure. Vinayak. Why don't you only continue?
okay, next slide. The running meaning of the shloka is given to deep and lifelong anxiety and holding enjoyment of sense objects as the highest goal. They are convinced in their belief that this is the highest limit of joy. Next. Now, this verse is mainly about materialistic and desires, materialistic things and desires. Now, what are materialistic things? Now, materialistic things are the things which you can touch or what you desire for. Like you can desire for a pen, a pencil, an eraser, and it grows on while you grow. Can you next slide? Yes. Now, we can take an example of fire and ghee. Now, we can take fire as anxiety and stress and ghee as desire. So, we can take one more example as next before slide. Yeah, we can take one more example as you have a desire, you have to go outside. Example of you can take a zoo, and your father says, yeah, you can go, but in 1 hour. And now the weather forecast also says that in 1 hour it's going to heavily rain. So you are very stressed that will I be able to go to the zoo or not? This is called anxiety and stress. And the more desires you have is the more anxiety and stress. Now, and more anxiety and stress you have, the more the fire will grow. Next slide. Now, seeking happiness from material thing is like catching to your own shadow. Next slide. Next slide. We can take example of Kasturi mrig, also called musk deer. This deer has a very sweet and fragrant smell. This is what this deer goes and wanders for the smell, but he does not know that it comes from himself. The same way is our happiness. The same way is our happiness. It's from inside you should get that happiness. It should not be dependent on other materialistic objects. Like if you get happy if you get a pen or a new Parker pen, but if you get sad if the same pen is not a Parker pen. So that instead of that, you should be happy with whatever you get, and that happiness should come from inside. Now, what we have learned from this shloka is our happiness should not be dependent on gadgets, less TV, mobile time, and we should utilize our time to learn new things. And we should also practice those old things which we have learned. We should also exercise daily to keep building our concentration and also be healthy. And daily, at least one time daily, we should recite our shlokas. and we should 5 minutes stay in meditation and recite, or we should chant the God's name. Thank you. Hari Om.
Thank you so much, Narayani, for an amazing explanation of this shloka. And we surely will follow the lesson we've learned from this shloka. So these people think that enjoyment of sense pleasures is the highest goal, but we know that the highest goal is moksha. But then the asuri people think that, and they are filled with anxiety, as Narayani said. The fire keeps getting bigger and bigger as you put ghee more and more, and hold the enjoyment of sense objects. Let's move on to the next verse. We have Pragya, who will be telling us about the 12th verse. Pragya and
Yeah, namaste everyone. Is Vishnu here?
Vishnu. One second.
I don't think he's in the meeting.
Yeah, maybe you can. Would someone want to chant, volunteer and chant after Pragya?
Can I?
Sure, Narayani.
So I'll just chant the verse completely. Next slide, Aditi.
Yeah.
I'll just chant the verse completely and then I'll tell it part by part. आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः कामक्रोधपरायणाः ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम् अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान् आशापाशशतैर्
आशापाशशतैः
बद्धाः
बद्धाः
कामक्रोधपरायणाः
कामक्रोधपरायणाः
ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम्
ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम्
अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्
अन्यायेनार्थसञ्जन्यान्.
Yeah. Okay. Can everybody chant after me now? आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः
आशापाशशतैर्बद्धाः
कामक्रोधपरायणाः
कामक्रोधपरायणाः
ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम्
ईहन्ते कामभोगार्थम्
अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्
अन्यायेनार्थसञ्चयान्.
Thank you. The literal transliteration of the verse is: held in bondage by hundreds of desires and driven by lust and anger, they strive to accumulate wealth by unjust means, all for the gratification of their senses. So my explanation will be a more elaborate version of what Narayani described in her first verse. So let's see. Every selfish desire carries a seed of anxiety within it, as we have seen. Sri Krishna says that such desires harm us in another manner. We develop attachment toward the desire we are bound to. It is as if a pasha is basically a rope that is tied around us on one end and the desire is on the other, like how our mind keeps a control on us. So in the example, you can see a cowboy who's tying the noose to the horse's mouth or the mouth to keep it in control when he rides it. So like this, the desire makes us obey its instructions and makes us a slave. So basically, it makes us dance to its tune, it controls us. So imagine if we ourselves have so many desires, what about people who have so much money? I'm not talking about all rich people. I'm talking about spoiled rich people. Imagine how many such ropes, bandhas, or desires are tied to them. With money and wealth comes desires, which when not fulfilled lead to anger, and then that will cause harm to yourself and others because you're not getting what you want, and thus the cycle repeats. Next slide. So let's take an example from our Puranas. From the Mahabharata, we all know the king of Hastinapur, Dhritarashtra, and his son Duryodhana. So Dhritarashtra adored his son Duryodhana to such an extent that he did not even notice the path of adharma that Duryodhana was taking. He blindly supported all his bad decisions without even questioning them or discussing it with his son, which ultimately ended up being harmful for his kingdom. I'm sure if you all have read or seen the Mahabharata, you would have noticed how Duryodhana keeps almost he controls his father. He always um, makes him accept whatever decision it takes, may it be good or bad. So Dhritarashtra is never able to go against his son and oppose him, like how a good, strong father should be able to do to his children. So mainly the two reasons why the Dhritarashtra had this blinding love for his son was because Shakuni relentlessly brainwashed Dhritarashtra about Duryodhana and all his achievements. So basically, he kept talking good about Duryodhana to him and always told him that if you don't let Duryodhana do this bad thing will happen to Hastinapur, this bad thing will happen to you, to your family, and he continuously brainwashed him. So on other hand, he also tried to almost and develop a control over Dhritarashtra, and Dhritarashtra came under his control. So basically, and then the second reason was the excessive fatherly love he had for Duryodhana. Now let's talk about all the events that lead up to the downfall of Hastinapur when Dhritarashtra ruled it because of the constant love and the control he had by Duryodhana. So first one, there are definitely way more events than this in the Mahabharata, but I couldn't put all of them, so I picked out a few of them. So let's start with the Laksha Griha, where Duryodhana tricked the Pandavas and their mother Kunti into going into the wax palace. In the wax palace, the servants who worked in the wax palace, they lit it up on fire when the Pandavas were sleeping for the night. But because of the intelligence and the quick thinking the Pandavas had, they managed to escape. That is a bad decision that Dhritarashtra knew Duryodhana was making, but he didn't prevent it. Then the one of the most significant events of Mahabharata, the game of dice, and that led to the Vastrapaharan of Draupadi. Again, this was happening right in front of Dhritarashtra in his own court. But did he do anything about it? No. He continued to be almost led by the hands of Shakuni, like how a charioteer or a cowboy controls his horse the same way. So even though it was happening right in front of him, he allowed the dice match to continue, even though it became more and more corrupt. And even when Draupadi was being disrobed, he never took an action and still stayed on the side of his son. And then third one was when Duryodhana imprisons Krishna, when he tries to imprison Krishna, when Krishna comes to negotiate with the Kauravas to stop the war and to talk it out peacefully. But then again, this had took place in the court right in front of Dhritarashtra, but he did not do anything about it and continued and let his son continue to go in the path of adharma. And then finally, the main big event, the Kurukshetra war, all the events that Dhritarashtra could have stopped any moment if he didn't let his son Duryodhana or Shakuni or anyone for that matter assert dominance over him or assert control over him. Next slide. So taking a present days example, now we all love going out shopping or at least to buy something what we desire, may it be clothes, video games, gadgets, books, anything. So even after suppose we purchase what we want when we come back home, we might have this lingering feeling that tells us, whatever the old things we have, let us keep that and we will add on to the collection. Suppose you have old clothes, you don't immediately have the desire to donate them to somebody who needs it. You feel like, okay, let them be there and I'll add on the new clothes to my closet as well. So basically, even after we purchase these clothes or toys or whatever, we don't want to give it away. This is a desire that we have. This is what prevents us from doing good to the needy. So, like this, as I mentioned, there are various other examples that we can take to talk about selfishness or greed. But what matters the most is how we learn to control these desires and know when to not let our mind take control of us. And we have to learn how to make up our mind to not give in to these desires and make our own decisions. For example, in the clothes case, we can learn to give it away to people who need it. So this will get rid us from attachments and lead us closer to the Paramatma. In this verse, Sri Krishna tries to convey the same to us, and he wants us to get closer to him and to cut the threads of bandha of attachment. And he wants to lead us in the path of dharma. I hope you could all understand this verse. Dhanyavad and Hari Om.
Thank you, Pragya, for the amazing explanation. We all have understood. Thank you. So, as she rightly told, let's get back to the Kalia story. In the Kalia story, we saw that Kalia had many heads, and these heads, they represent desire. And in the third chapter also, Arjuna asks Krishna. He says that he asks, I know what is right, what is wrong, but why is it that I'm following the wrong adharmic path? Why am I doing wrong things? And Krishna says, it is because of your kama and krodha. Kama is desire. And Swami Paramarthananda also says it is okay to have desires, but then you have to follow these three things, which is you have to have moderate desires, non-binding, and lead in a dharmic path. Thank you, Pragya, once again. Let's move on to the 13th verse by Shara. Go ahead, Shara.
Yes. Hari Om everyone. Today I'm going to explain the 16.13 verse.
Who will be chanting with you?
Is Anvit here?
Yes, sir. Yes, Shadow.
Yes. Is the verse here? Sorry, I forgot to include. But was the verse over here, or I just look from my book and see? Sorry, 1 second.
Do you know the verse, Anvit? If you know it, you can chant by your...
Yeah, Anvit, if you have known the verse, you can chant it now. If you don't, don't teach.
You can go to the next slide, no? If there is the verse. See, there's the verse.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so Anvit, you want help or you will say on your own?
You help. You teach.
Okay. Idamadhyamaya labdham. Idamadhyamaya.
Idamadyamaya
Labdhamimam prapsye.
labdamibam prapsye
Manoratham. Idamadhyamaya labdhamimam.
Idamadyamala.
Write it down.
Okay. Fine then. Next line. Idamasti dimapi.
Idamasti bimapi.
Sorry. I think it goes like this. Idamasti damapime. Like,
Yeah, I was trying to break it down, but it's fine. Idamasti dimapi me.
Idamasti bimapi me.
Idamasti.
Idamasti bimapi me.
Idamasti dimapi. Idamasti damapi me.
इदमस्ति दमपि मे
भविष्यति
भविष्यति
पुनर्धनम्.
पुनर्धरम्.
Thank you.
Okay, now everybody chant after me. इदमद्य मया लब्धमिमम्
इदमद्य मया
इदमद्य लब्धम्
प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम्
प्राप्स्ये मनोरथम्
इदमस्तीदिमपि मे
इदमस्तीदमपि मे
भविष्यति पुनर्धनम्.
भविष्यति
पुनर्धनम्.
The meaning of this verse is, this has been obtained by me today. I shall attain this desired object shortly. I have this much wealth now, there will be more later. So basically this verse says that the asuri people, their mindset goes like this. I have fulfilled this many desires today. I have got so much wealth today. It is like that. I have so much wealth now, and I shall fulfill even more desires later. Now, like Sir had explained long back, he had explained with some fractions. So you have one desire and one fulfilled, you have happiness, 100 happiness. Then you have two desires, one fulfilled, 75% happiness. Three desires, one fulfilled, 50% happiness. 4 desires, one fulfilled, 25% happiness. Like that, it keeps going on. So you should always have 0 desires and 0 fulfilled. So that time, we will have infinite happiness. So this is the verse. So here, these people, they are not happy with what they have. They have more than enough to live a happy life. But they will always want more. Endless desire they have. This is gained by me today. I shall acquire this desire. And then I shall acquire even more in the future. So then, next slide. So yes, they always have that mindset to get more. They have more than enough to live a great life, but they will always have more greed. So take an example of some spoiled rich people. They don't measure people by their good or bad qualities. They measure them by how much money or property they own. They say this person is 20 million, this person is 2,000. They measure people by money instead of how good of a person they are. Krishna does this, but not with money, our qualities, how we are, how much Daivi Sampat we have. But these people, they calculate themselves with money. They think just because they are wealthy, they are better than everyone. So this is a pretty straightforward verse. So this is what it says. I would not say it quite long, but I'm going to say a quite short story about this. It was told long ago in the class before I joined. The story of Club 99. So once there was a king who was walking with his minister along the river. He saw a farm. In there was a farmer and his family, buzzing with joy, singing, dancing. They had so much love and affection for each other. The king asked the minister, I am the supreme ruler of this land, the one who has more than anyone can dream of, and these people are happier than me. How? The minister said, Sir, because these people are not part of Club 99. The king asked, what is Club 99? The minister told, you give me 99 gold coins, I'll tell you after 6 months. So the king gave the minister 99 gold coins. He went and kept it at the doorstep of the farmer. When the farmer opened the door and saw, he found a bag, filled bag. Excitedly, he went home and opened it. He found gold coins. He had never got one gold coin in his life. It was such a stroke of good fortune. He counted them. He counted 99. He counted again. He got 99. He thought he was getting crazy by excitement. He called his wife. She counted 99. He called his son. He counted 99. Everybody counted 99. He said, "Who is that fool who forgot to keep one to make my collection of 100? So then he got angry and started working day and night to get that one gold coin. Meanwhile, the wife is thinking, my husband is such a nut. Such a nut. He has so much wealth, more than enough, and he doesn't spend anything. So she took 2 gold coins and went for shopping. 97 gold coins left. He came home and counted them at the evening. 97. He asked who took the coins. His wife told, I am not a nut like you. I know that we should utilize this money. So they started arguing. Meanwhile, the son spent 2 gold coins. Then 6 months later, when the king came there, he saw that he came to the same farm and saw all the happiness was gone. No dancing, no singing, only fighting, bickering, and arguments. The king asked, how did this drastic change happen? The minister said, now they're officially members of Club 99. The minister started explaining that Club 99 was a group of people who had 99 gold coins or more. They have more than enough to live a great life. But in searching for that one gold coin or even more, they spend their entire life in anger and sadness, and they forget to utilize the wealth they have. So the moral of the story is we should be happy with what we have. Thank you, Sachin sir, for giving me this wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Shara, for an amazing explanation, and the story made us understand better. Thank you. So this verse is in inverted commas. As Krishna talks about the thought process of an asura, this verse talks about the materialistic wealth of an asura and how he handles it and maintains it. Let's move on to the next verse, verse number 4. One second. Yeah, verse number 14. Nayana and Tanush. Are you ready?
Is Tanush there?
Yeah, audible. Tanush? Excuse me, Tanush. Tanush? Are you there?
Tanush is there, but he's not unmuted himself.
You have to repeat after Nayana, okay? Or can you chant on your own?
I'll do it with Naina.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you repeat after me, Tanush? Asau maya hata shatruhu.
Asomaya
Hata shatruhu hanishe chaparanati api. Ishwaro hamaham bogi
Siddhoham
Siddhoham
Balavan Sukhi.
Balavan Sukhi.
Can all of us chant together?
Yes, ma'am.
असौ मया हतः शत्रुः
असौ मया
मया
हतः शत्रुः
हनिष्ये चापरानपि
हनिष्ये चापरानपि
ईश्वरोऽहमहं भोगी
ईश्वरोऽहमहं भोगी
सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी
सिद्धोऽहं बलवान् सुखी.
Aditi, next slide please.
Yeah.
We can take the word by word meaning. Asa, he, maya, by me, hatah, destroyed, shatruhu, enemy, hanishye, will destroy.
Sorry to interrupt. But there is some background noise. If it is possible,
1 minute.
yeah, there's a bit of.
Can we even?
Yeah, I think you've kept your microphone very near to your.
Now,
Yeah, yeah. Nayana?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can continue.
Asau, he, maya, by me, hatah, destroyed, shatruhu, enemy, hanishye, will destroy, cha, and aparan, others, api, also, ishwaraha, Lord, aham, I am, bhogi, enjoyer, siddhaha, accomplished one, aham, I am, balavan, mighty, sukhi, happy. So the complete meaning will become, that enemy was destroyed by me. Others will also be destroyed by me. I am the Lord. I am the enjoyer. I have accomplished everything. I am mighty and happy. Can you go to the next slide, please? So, before this. So here we have few people, demonic nature people in different yugas. So in the Satya Yuga, we have Hiranyakashipu. I think I don't need to explain the story much. Because I think all of us know the story of how Hiranyakashipu troubled his son, Prahalada, who was a devotee of Lord Vishnu from his birth. So he was saying his father is not the god who Hiranyakashipu claimed to be, and Vishnu is the supreme god. So then Hiranyakashipu, as shown in the picture, is with his sister gave his sister, since she had a boon from Lord Brahma, a cloak given by Brahma, saying that they can it won't burn her. So having that cloak put on her, she sat near a bonfire and then asked Prahalada to sit on her lap. Prahalada sat and was chanting Harinama. So at this point of time, Holika did not understand what was going on. There was this big wind which came after the fire was lit and was halfway through. There was a very big wind and the cloak flew on Prahalada from Holika. So Holika burned to death and Prahalada survived. Like this, Hiranyakashipu has tortured his son a lot, but then his son every time managed to escape with the help of Narayana. So now this tells us that God does not only just give the demons who give torture to his bhaktas as well as slaves. Then you can say the slave part as the last part when Hiranyakashipu breaks the pillar and Narasimha comes out and kills Hiranyakashipu on the Hiranyakashipu. And then if you go to Treta Yuga, which is formerly known as when the Ramayana happened, Ravanasura is the best example you can take, as he um, uh, kidnapped, you can say, Sita, who was Rama's wife, then Sita, and took her to Lanka. But in the middle, in the way, he also had killed Jatayu, the bird king by then, who was also a very mighty eagle. So Ravanasura also killed Jatayu, but then he was also killed by Rama in the Yuddha in Lanka. So this says that like how much ever trouble the Lord may be in, the Lord will help his bhaktas or the Lord will help his bhaktas. If you go to the Dwapara Yuga, you have two examples, but first is Duryodhana, the brother brother of the Pandavas, and so we can. So in Dwapara Yuga, we have Duryodhana, who was like really unjust with like Pandavas and their wife Draupadi, and did like how Pragnaka explained like Vastrapaharan. So like that, Duryodhana has done many stuff, and Pragnaka has told a few. So like that, we have like a lot of stuff where Duryodhana did, but then he was still killed in the end. Then in the last, you can see Shishupala being killed in the Rajasuya Yajna by Krishna. Rajasuya Yajna was performed while Yudhishthira had the Indraprastha in his clutches. So he performed this yajna to make the Indraprastha and get a emperorship. So in the middle when he had to choose the like a person who he like values a lot. So at that point of time, Shishupala, Yudhishthira chose Krishna. When this happened, our Shishupala here was given a boon by Krishna that I will take 100 of his you can say scoldings for me. After that, I can't help. This was a promise by Krishna to Shishupala's mother. So for this, Shishupala did not know this. So then he said like 101 bad things about Krishna in that one sabha. So Krishna said that the promise given to my aunt has been completely fulfilled and your end has come to me now. So then using his Sudarshana Chakra, his disc, Krishna kills Shishupala and wipes out. So this tells us that the Lord does not only protect his bhaktas, but also kills the people who are torturing or are unjust to any of his bhaktas. Next slide. Dhanyavada, thank you and Dhanyavada, and I thank Sachin sir for giving me such a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you so much, Nayana. It was a fantastic explanation, and from the stories we can relate to it and understand better. So this verse is also in inverted commas. So if a person has greed, he immediately gets shatrus or enemies, and he will want to destroy them. He has already destroyed them. He wants to destroy them more because he's not satisfied, and he or she thinks that he's superior than God. He is God, and etc. Now we have come to the end of today's class. We will chant the Shanti mantra. Om Purnamada Namidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. If anyone has any doubts, you can stay. And thank you to all the speakers, and most importantly, thank you, Sachin sir.